What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we got to talk about something pretty darn alarming. And look, it's kind of doubling down on an issue that I talked about roughly a year ago, and it's gaming prices going up, right? Now, what we have here is talk around town, around the gaming industry, that the industry actually hopes that GTA 6 will raise its price. Now, they specifically, this report or this rumor, is they want it to raise to $100. They know it'll sell well regardless, and then they want it to do that so that the other gaming companies can follow suit and do the same thing. Now, we've heard this before. It's actually why I'm starting to get more scared. I think last time we talked about this, the talk was $80, right? I mean, we've gone up in increments of 10, right? It was 60. I mean, you have it all over the place. You got your $30, $40, $50 games. I'm talking US, by the way. By the way, around the world where things are already more expensive, I know I have a lot of Canadian viewers, and they tell me, Alex, games are already $100 with us. I believe you. I know, and this is only going to go higher, right? So this is US, $100 in the US. You do the conversion rate in your own territory, it would be going up by a significant margin, right? To go up from 70 to 100 is freaking ridiculous, okay? I'm going to kind of get more into my pure raw emotion in just a second, but that's the gist of it. They want them to raise the price from 70 to 100 so they can do the same thing. And I think the reasoning is to do the development costs, right? Things obviously are going up. And look, I am not heartless. I am not unaware. I know things have gone more expensive, and we've talked about that quite a bit on the channel, I'd say, over the last 2-3 years. It's costing double, triple, quadruple what it used to take and to make a big game, right? A AAA game, it costs so much more now. And I will throw them, a bone for this. Game prices haven't really gone up, right? The jump from 60 to 70 was a massive leap because it really never goes up. However, that's as far as I'm willing to go with giving them the benefit of the doubt or giving them any kind of sympathy, because here's one thing I do want to say, by the way. I am actually more optimistic, I think, than most, at least that I see, around the internet of the future of the gaming industry. I like a lot of games. I get interest in a lot of games, and that kind of makes me polarizing, I think, to some people, me giving certain games a chance that other people just kind of write off immediately. But I want to say that because I generally am optimistic, but I got to tell you, this is the worst decision you could ever do in your life. And it's worrying me because, again, this is not the first time. We originally heard it would go up to 80, or they want it to go up to 80, and then now you're hearing $100. Now, look, these could just be things to be put out there so people talk about it and it becomes a big thing, and maybe it doesn't happen, right? But the sad thing is, the first part of all of this master plan stuff is guaranteed to work. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's another reason why it's so scary. You could price GTA 6 at anything. Okay, I guess there probably is a limit, but you could raise the price considerably, and it's not going to do a single thing to GTA. I 1,000% believe that. Now, yes, there's people, even in my audience, right? There's a lot of people that tell me, hey, I'm just not interested in GTA. I respect that. I get that. I mean, not every game, no game is made for every person in the entire world. But you got to be real, and GTA 6 is the biggest game in the entire world. GTA 6 is going to do good regardless, whether it's woke versus non-woke, whatever the situation, whatever the war might be on any given day, it's going to be the best-selling thing we've ever seen. That's literally what GTA games do. I see no reason why that's not going to happen, at least in my opinion. So that's the sad and scary thing, is no matter if you put it at $80, it will sell. It will absolutely sell. If you do it at 100, I also think it'll sell. I really, really do. So part one of their master plan to basically throw GTA as an experiment, or at least, again, I mean, I'm taking some, I'm going a little bit exaggerating, but the hope of the industry, right? Kind of wanting to sacrifice GTA for the greater good and have them charge whatever God wants them to charge, and then you can charge everything else the same amount, right? You're throwing it out there, and that will work. You will succeed. And that's what I've said that from the beginning, right? That's the thing. GTA 6 is going to sell, but why is this so bad? Well, number one, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous and pathetic, to be honest with you. But number two, it's not going to work for any other game. I'm telling you right now, another thing that you just have to think about with GTA is it's 1 in a million. There's a reason why when these games come out, GTA 5, even Red Dead 2 to a lesser extent, when these games set benchmarks, when they set milestones, when they set records of they make the most money out of movies, day one, music, television, they make the most money in all of entertainment, okay? There's a reason why that happens. And do you see every other game doing that? No. So that's my main thing is GTA literally is like a unicorn, right? It's special. It does this thing once every 10 years. It literally sets a record that no game can literally ever match. That's the whole point. That doesn't make it better, by the way. It just makes it, what it is. It is what it is, right? That cannot be replicated with any other game. So where I'm going with this, that I want to spend a little time on, this would backfire so quickly. And I got to be honest, I'm at a point now where I've almost, even though I am one of the more optimistic people, at least that I see online, I'm just done. I'm so completely done with this kind of ridiculous talk and want from the industry to do the stupidest thing on planet Earth. Go ahead and try. I'm actually at a point where I am willing for them to just do it. I don't even know if I would fight against it, because here's the thing, I don't need to. The audience will fight against it in a heartbeat. There's a lot of games that are struggling. My game of the year last year, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Square Enix talks about it as a huge disappointment, right? That thing barely sold, kind of according to them. Astrobot, my second favorite game of the year, probably sold 2 million units. And Rebirth probably only sold 2 or 3 million units. You're not talking about 50 million. You're not talking about 100 million that a GTA game over its life can do, right? This is a game that's going to sell so many units. So while I appreciate so many different games, from Hades to What Remains of Edith Finch to big games to small games, I appreciate so many of them. If you keep raising these prices, number one, these games are already not doing very well. I mean, yeah, you'll have your success, right? A Hogwarts Legacy comes out and really surprises, not me, I actually called it like 3 years before, but it surprises a lot of people, right? Sells 20, 30 million units. That's unreal. Very little games reach 20 to 30 million. Black Myth Wukong, yes, helped by, a huge Chinese audience, but who cares? Sells about 30 million. That's enormous, but that's not every game. Most games sell between, 1 to 5 million. That's like good for like the industry at large. When Spider-Man does 10 or 15, it's considered a slam dunk hit. When God of War does it, right? That's huge, 10, 15 million. That's not even all that much compared to 20, 30, 40, 50. Now make the price $30 more, right? People already, I do believe, have been speaking with their wallet for a variety of reasons. There are culture wars that go on. There is console wars that go on. There's just kind of a non-belief in the gaming industry anymore. I think there's a little bit of a disconnect. There's a lot of reasons why, and that's why I'm not a big fan of just like labeling and stuff, because I think it's a multitude of reasons, but there's a lot going on right now, and money also does not help. We are not in the greatest economic period of our lifetime, right? Things are a struggle for a lot of people, and it coincides with games being more expensive than ever before. Yeah, development costs are more expensive, but games are more expensive, and I do think you're seeing the repercussions. I don't know how much, say, like a Rebirth would sell at $60 versus $70. There's no real way of knowing it, but it might be more. It might be a couple tens of thousands of more people. $10 is their breaking point. Maybe, maybe not. But the thing is, if you go from 70 to 80, that's another, and you go up to $100 freaking dollars, again, people will do it for GTA. I might even do it. It's a big deal. I might even do it for GTA. But like, if you try to follow that with all of these games, think about like all these games coming out this year, right? Mafia and Borderlands, and think about some of the February games of Kingdom Come Deliverance and Avowed and all these things. Imagine raising the price by $30 on all of these games. They're going to sell half. I mean, I honestly believe you would lose at least half. At least half of the buyers, the purchaser, I think you'd lose half of that. And that is just a prediction, but there's no way. There's no way you're going to be able to keep what you're doing now. Not even like now is doing all that good in the first place. And I think another thing people have commonly brought up that I've brought up that I think is important, why don't we fix other things? Why don't we try? They're always trying to do things that actually kind of hurt us versus like try to fix themselves. That happens all the time. How about we try to figure out how to bring down development costs? If you need to raise your game to $100 freaking dollars because your budget is $300 million, why don't you try to lower that budget? And now what does that mean? Well, wages are going up and all that stuff, so you can't necessarily fire people, otherwise you don't have a game, but maybe you make shorter games. Maybe you, I don't know, cut corners, do something to get that budget down by 50 million, down by 75 million. That money, that 50 to 75 million, that's your 10, 20, $30 that they're adding onto the game. Just try to lower your development costs. I know it's difficult. I'm not saying like it's a snap of the fingers and it's all solved, but when you put the issue on us, on the consumers, it's not going to work. There's too much competition. There are a lot of games that come out. Most people buy like 4 games max a year. I am the vast minority where I get like 20, 30 games a year. That nobody does that. I mean, yes, maybe you and I online and you see some of your favorite creators. Most people on planet Earth do not do that, okay? They really are fighting and scraping for like just the 3-4 games a year. I'll tell you this, you raise the price by $30, you're going to be, instead of buying 4 games a year, you're going to start buying 2 or 1. It's going to happen. You'll buy the GTAs. You might buy the CODs every year, the Madden. That's it. There'll be no other. And you're already, like I said, I really think what I just said in the beginning is probably a good example. You think to like Astrobot, you think to Final Fantasy, some of my favorite games. Banishers Ghosts of New Eden is a game that nobody heard of and nobody freaking bought or played, okay? And it's my 3rd favorite game of the year. That game was already, something that nobody cared about. Now imagine charging $30 more. I mean, Don't Nod would freaking shut down. Square Enix would go bankrupt. It's like, it's not going to work. I'm telling you right now, I'm from the future, if you want to say. It's not going to work. And it's just alarming that we've heard this multiple times now, and not even like it's the same story. Now it's going higher. Originally, $80. I would not tolerate 80 either, to be honest with you, but it's a whole heck of a lot better than 100, right? That's a massive that's a huge jump. So I don't know. They need to keep it the same. Honestly, they kind of need to go back to 60 in my opinion. I know how difficult that is, but again, they need to focus on themselves. They need to focus on getting their own budgets lower. That's the problem. Is the ballooning budgets because the games are ballooning. I mean, get it down. I don't care. Instead of 50-hour games, give us 30. Maybe that cuts the budget by 10%, and maybe that's enough to stop overcharging. Maybe it's enough to stop saying, hey, you give us $40 extra, we'll let you play the game 2 weeks early. We need to cut this stuff out before it gets worse, and you're seeing it right now. The industry, if this report is right, the industry wants this to happen so they can charge their games to be that price, right? Again, they know GTA is going to work. They want to follow it. They're so dumb. By the way, that is such a dumb idea. I guess I kind of said that already, but I can't imagine being like an executive at one of these companies and like legitimately using GTA as an example of anything. Like maybe some mechanics of the game you want to kind of steal and iterate on and stuff, but if you're sitting there with your board members and you're really saying, well, if GTA can do it, we can do it, you should be fired. You should immediately be thrown out of that office because you're not connected. That's not being connected to the industry. That's not being connected to consumers. Again, I'm not saying GTA is this like, it is this otherworldly thing, but not, I mean, I don't think it's like massively better quality-wise than like any other game. It's not my favorite game of all time. It's not in my top 30 favorite games of all time. It's special and it does what it does and it does it very well, but it is what it is. Again, it doesn't even matter if you care about it or like it or dislike it. You almost just kind of have to respect its, ability to do these things, but you can't copy that. You literally cannot do it. It's not going to happen. So to try to use that as an example to raise your prices is never going to work. It's already not working. You're already struggling, and then you think the solution is going to be to follow that and to raise your price. You're literally going to destroy yourself. I mean, that's what's going to happen. Although I'm Mr. Optimist and I get called out for being, I get people that get mad at me for being an optimist. I'm not being an optimist here. If they do this would be such a quick death of like a lot of the industry. Now, maybe you could like have a quick learning phase where like you realize that you royally screwed up and then fix it immediately. But a lot of companies, like, you can't take like a huge hit, right? A lot of companies live like game to game or quarter to quarter. They can't take like 2-3 games just massively failing and they don't have time to flip the switch and say, okay, well, we learned from our mistakes, now we're gonna fix things. A lot of them wouldn't be able to do that. So I don't know, we'll see what GTA 6 does. I honestly, at this point, I really don't think it's gonna be $70. I feel like just there's enough kind of around where it's like Rockstar sees this, you know what I mean? Like Take-Two sees this, like they probably say, I don't care about what any of these other companies do. Let's make it 80. We're going to make an unreal amount of money, billions of dollars. If they want to follow us and fail, they can follow us and fail. We're worried about ourselves. You know, it's almost a disconnect where Take-Two might see this and say, yeah, we've been playing on $80 behind the scenes for like 2 years now. We're going to charge $80. And it is what it is, but then it's not really their problem that other companies are, like waiting on that to kind of jump onto it. That's not their problem. That's not necessarily their fault, right? So we kind of just have to see and wait for them to play their card or play their hand, and then we see what everybody else does. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon's turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.